the first episode of 2026. I just really hope that our listeners will not repeat the same mistakes this year that they made last year.
Yeah.
We think we have a lot of time. And we're like, you know what? I can do that later in the year.
Right.
And before you know it, 10 years has passed.
A lot of the stuff and the failures that we have had, it's based on self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You get faced with reality and like, I can't do this. And it's just comfortable to stay where I'm at.
And here's the big one. We didn't have the guts to keep fighting. 2025, man, I got hit big time. And it was like it was sucking the oxygen out of me, but you couldn't tell because I ain't gonna show that. I'm a fighter. I am riding with God and life till the wheels fall off. I'm not gonna give up.
Yeah.
And this year, 2026, gotta be different for me. Most people don't fail their New Year's resolutions in February. They fail them on January 1. Why? Because you can't step into a new year with the same old mindset and expect a different outcome. Every January, we make declarations, write goals, buy planners, and hype ourselves up. But the moment life hits, motivation dies. That's why over 80% of people abandon their resolutions before the second month even starts. Not because they're weak, not because the goal is too big, but because their mindset never shifted. If you go into 2026 with this same thinking, the same habit, if you will, the same excuses, you'll repeat the same year you just lived, just with a different calendar. So I'm your host, Henry Fernandez, and today my co-host and I are breaking down 4 mindset shifts that will actually help you follow through in this year. Now, if you are tired of setting goals you never hit, stick with us because we're going to dive into these game-changing mindset shifts right after this. We'll be right back.
If you are ready to reflect, grow, and become the best version of yourself, then we have something specifically just for you.
That's right. Henry Fernandez Ministries has launched a brand new interactive ebook series, and it's called Becoming the Best Version of Yourself. And Fred, it's absolutely free.
Let's go. I love that. But listen, this is a 12-part devotional style series that is designed specifically to keep you accountable. Listen, it has interactive call to actions. It has reflections and daily and weekly challenges.
Wow, I love that already. And this is how this will work for you. Every month, you'll receive a brand new ebook, and the last month will build and build on the months to come. So you can go ahead and start your journey to growth in 2026 and beyond.
Let's go. Listen, this pairs perfectly with the Henry Fernandez podcast, which comes on every Tuesday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
So right now, go ahead. You can head on over to henryfernandez.org, fill out the information there to get the ebook in your inbox.
That's right. So listen, this is your becoming season.
And your growth starts here.
You see, every year it's the same thing. We get excited about a fresh start. But actually, the question is, we kind of lose, right? Focus and find ourselves stuck in the same cycle of unaccomplished goals. And again, the question, my co-hosts Carlene and Charlotte, why is that? You know, why do we think that so many people keep giving themselves permission to fail? Now, that's a big question. I mean, giving themselves permission to fail. What do you think?
As I think about that, I feel like, and I have been there, so I'm going to put myself in this bucket here. I feel like as individuals, we think we have a lot of time, right? So as we set our resolutions, we're definitely set on, I'm going to do this, and this is going to happen, and we've celebrated, we said the hallelujahs, but then as it's not happening, we're like, you know what? I can do that later in the year.
Right.
Or we say, oh, you know what? I'll switch it up and do it next time. So we think we have all of this time. And so we make it, we allow ourselves to feel like we can just put it off, and then we get comfortable in that, and before you know it, 10 years has passed.
Right.
But even then, we think we still have time.
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I think it's somewhat a form of self-sabotage in some ways where it sounds really good and at the beginning of every year and it's all refreshing and yeah, I'm going to go join the gym and I'm going to do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, did we really want to do that? Is that something that we really wanted to do? Or you get faced with reality and like, I can't do this. That self-talk is self-sabotaging
Right.
where you're like, no, and it's just comfortable to stay where I'm at.
Yeah, I think sometimes people live such a passive life, and they're more willing to just sit back and kind of like, okay, whatever happens, you know.
Yeah.
I tried all of these things the last 10 years, it's not working, so I'm going to give myself permission. It's a new year, you know, because again, this is a new year. I mean, this the first show.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm 20. I mean, just think about it now.
Right.
The first episode of 2026. And I just really hope that our listeners will not repeat the same mistakes this year
Yeah.
that they made last year.
Yeah.
Don't give yourself permission, man, to fail. Don't just sit by and accept the mistakes you made last year. Tell yourself that I can do better. You know,
Yeah.
maybe I didn't hit it big last year. Maybe, you know, I did some things because, you know, a lot of the stuff and the failures that we have had, it's based on self-sabotage,
Yep.
right? We did it. We didn't follow certain instructions. And here's the big one. We didn't have the guts to keep fighting. We give up too
Wow.
easily.
Wow.
You know, and you know, I'm the kind of guy, I'm telling you, man, I am riding with God and life till the wheels fall off.
I love that.
I'm not giving
Yeah.
up. I don't care what happens. I don't care what life, last year, 2025, man, I got hit big time. Big time. And it was like it was sucking the oxygen out of me, but you couldn't tell because I ain't gonna show that. I'm a fighter. As long as I listen, I don't care if they hook me up to these, what you call these machines, when your heart is
heart rate?
failing. No, when your heart is failing in the hospital, man, life support.
Life support.
When they put you on that life support, trust me, I'm telling you, even when I have, you know, life support, something, maybe some people say you're half dead, you're 3/4 dead. As long as I'm breathing, I'm not going to give up.
Yeah.
And this year, 2026, got to be different for me.
It has to be. And in order for us to really say, I'm serious about being the best version of myself, we have to be able to stand in our truth and have non-negotiables, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes we are quick to make a goal because it sounds good, or we saw it on social media, or, you know, it's out there. It's like, oh, yeah, it would be great for me to do this thing, but did we really establish, like, these are my non-negotiables? Because that's so important. Because if you don't have that, you're really just experimenting.
Right.
It's either you're committed to your goal or you're doing an experimentation. And if we take it back to elementary, to middle, high school, the experiment can go either way. The plant may not grow inside, right?
Right.
Or does it need sun? So you cannot take chance when it comes to that. We really have to be set, because the real change happens when you go from, okay, I'm going to go from a maybe and I'm going to move into a must.
Right.
And
I
you
like
have to-
that.
You like that, right? Yeah.
Right. Shift from a maybe to a must.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a T-shirt right there.
New
You need to
merch,
put that
new
in the
merch.
merch.
Like an arrow, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
A maybe
yeah.
to a
Wow, wow.
And you have to be so intentional. Like, the mindset shift here is, I'm not going to put myself in a position to fail because, one, I was not realistic with it. You know, I did not really put my whole heart and soul into it from the get-go.
Right.
Because if you leave that door open, it's like, hey, I can just walk out this back door if it's not working. Like giving yourself, you know, plan B. You have to be really set.
Good.
And I want to bring in a little biblical reference here, because a lot of us, you know, love the book of Daniel because we got some warriors
Right.
in this book, right? And I want to talk about quickly the story of when Daniel made that decision. So here he is, right? He has a chance to eat the king's food, or he has a chance to do what's in his heart to actually go on this diet, right? And eat what God is telling him to eat. And now his life is up against the line. Like, a lot can happen to him, but he was so resolved in that he made his resolution in that moment, right? And he stuck with that, and God favored him. And I think it's so important for us to understand that when we make decisions, we have to really make sure that it's non-negotiable, even under pressure, and that God will honor that. And even if we look further, the Hebrew boys, they were in fire. How many times, real ones, you in the fire, and you're like, I'm about to throw some water on my own fire.
Right. And that's where a lot of people are failing, is that they're compromising.
Yes.
You know, the stories you just mentioned, you know, in the book of Daniel, Daniel refused to compromise even if it cost him his life.
Right.
Wow.
Think about that. You know, and this is how this year is going to change.
Yes.
This year's is going to change for you when you make the decision, you know what, I'm willing to put my life on the line to do it God's way this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because remember, to give you context to the story that you just referred to, Daniel, he being a child of God, you know, it's against his rule and his faith to worship idols.
Right.
Anything that's been offered up by an idol or been, you know, sacrifice was done over it, and the king's food, that was idolatry. And this guy could have been like a lot of us. Trust me, food, plenty of food on the table.
Absolutely.
We gonna eat it and ask God, could you forgive me in February? You know, I'm gonna eat it in January. February, there, because, you know, we have this grace. We preach this grace all the time. Right, but Daniel stood up
He did.
and he said, no, I am not going to eat the king's food. And then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? When they were thrown into the fire. So I think all of us must make a decision. If this year's going to be different, we have to make the decision and to say that, you know what, I'm going to be the best version of myself, and it's not going to happen based on fear. It's not going to happen based on the pressure that I get when my back is against the wall. Whatever areas of your life, don't allow the enemy to push you against the wall. When he pushes you against the wall, you stand up and square your shoulders and you say, you know what? The devil is a liar. 2026 is going to be my year. My year of healing, my year of breakthrough, my year of blessings, my year of open doors, and so forth. And when that tenacity comes out of you,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's different. I mean, so much is happening in my head right now as you're talking because I'm seeing like, okay, so it's going to cost his life, right? It could have cost his life. So what does it really cost us? Because sometimes it may cost our sleep, right? It may cost finances. It may cost saying no to some things, but we're not willing to pay the cost to keep those resolutions. So I'm here like, okay, what is that cost that we're not wanting to pay,
Right.
you know?
that's it.
And it goes back to what you were saying, Henry, before about just kind of going through the year with no purpose. You know, we've got to stop that cycle. You know, at some point, you got to be tired of being sick and tired, right? Or sick and tired of being tired. So if you're in the same situation, because like I said, I've been there where it's like every year, January 1st, yay, and then it's like the longest episode of Groundhog Day or the longest version of Groundhog Day in my life, just repeating over and over again. We gotta stop, but we have to know, I think also understanding authority. We have the authority to change things.
Yes.
That's it.
We are the agents. God doesn't he could do it himself.
Right.
He could come in and be like, all right, let's move the mountain. Let me do this for you. But he didn't. He gave us the authority, almost like the police are the ones that carry out the law. We as kingdom believers, we as citizens are the ones that come in and go, well, what does God say about this? He says, I am his righteousness. He says, I am the head and not the tail. He says, I shall be the lender, not the borrower. So when are we going to take the authority of what the word says? And maybe that just means, let me just read my word this year. Let me just figure out what the word says. And there's my goals for 2026.
And the key to what you just said is taking authority.
Right.
If this year's going to be different, you have to take authority. I mean, I hope, I opened up the podcast today by talking about how 80% of the people abandon their resolution before they go into February. Now, this is the first podcast of the year. I hope you're not a victim of this 80% where come February, in a few days, that you find yourself back at square one. You have to take authority by speaking where you want to go and what you believe and then acting upon it. So you can speak all you want, A lot of you spoke greatness over your life last year, but did you do anything about it?
No.
Right.
You know, you have to act upon it. So this year can be different.
And I want to put a question out, and I would love for you real ones to put the answer in the chat as we talk about
Yes.
this. So what areas in your life are still negotiable when they should not be? What areas?
Come on now, put it.
Stand in your truth.
What areas of your life still negotiable and
I'll-
it shouldn't be?
I'll tell you, for me, I heard a word the other day. I was listening to this deliverance pastor. I'd never heard anybody talk about deliverance the way that she did, and it woke me up. It was like it started stirring things up. And she said certain things, like she said, you know, when you start feeling a stir, it means the Holy Spirit wants to move. But with her, it was just a reminder for me of like, I really don't understand the authority. I know, you know it when push comes to shove and you're in this situation where it's like, okay, I don't have any choice but to do this and believe. But what about in those times where, and we've talked about that before, where it's like good.
Right.
You know, so sometimes we just get really kind of lazy in that. And I think for me, that's a negotiable.
Right,
That
right.
needs to be now. It's going to turn into non-negotiable for me,
right, right.
because I have to understand that. I have to own that, because if I did it before and God did it,
Right.
why am I not doing that now?
Well, I think for me, it's not making space for purpose. You know, I know my purpose. I am working on some things, but I think I allow busy to crowd that sometimes, and it should not be an area that's negotiable. So,
For me, you know, it's the sweets. It's the sweets, man.
apple pie ice cream.
I'm not supposed to have so much apple pies.
Does your wife let you have those sweets?
She don't know half the. Shh. Charlotte, shh. Please don't put my business out there like that. She don't know half
in the car before you get in the house.
I'm telling you, that is a struggle. And when you talk about it shouldn't be, oh yeah, I know I will eat apple pie every single day. And I struggle with that. Sweets, I struggle with sweets. And no, seriously, you may be thinking, well, that, you know, you're just making up
No,
that.
it's a thing.
It's serious. It's serious. I'm telling you, that's the area of my life. I ain't giving up my apple pie. Apple pie, it has to be in heaven.
Well, I have a
I'm
challenge
telling
for
you,
you.
it has to be in there. I'm telling you, God's not going to let me get to heaven. And he don't have no apple pie up there, I'm telling you.
Come here, my child.
What's the question you want to
I want to put a challenge out there for everybody. Let's get some accountability around
Make sure
this
you
thing,
put yours
right?
in the chat. Go ahead and put yours.
So here it is. Let's get an accountability partner, right? And both of you choose one resolution you've been treating casually, right? And make it a non-negotiable. So let's flip it. Make it a non-negotiable for the next 30 days. No excuses, no exceptions. And let's see what happens. And then talk about the results. And then after you've accomplished that, go another 30 days. That's my challenge.
That's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one. So the challenge is right there. Follow it for the next, 30
30
days.
days.
30 days.
Starting today.
Let's see if you will survive the end of January. Because, you know, I have faith in a lot of you, but I'm looking at a lot of you right now. I'm telling you, I give you till the 15th.
Oh boy! Wow.
You say, Henry, you have no faith. I'm telling you, man. Come on, man. Stop just giving up so easy, man. Anyway, Charlotte.
So let's shift gears a little bit, and I guess it kind of segues into this next topic. So if we're talking about the discomfort, right? So if you really do stick it out till 30 days, you probably are going to feel a little bit of discomfort, if not a
A
lot.
whole lot. A whole lot of
So
discomfort.
pain is ultimately our truth detector. Okay, it will not lie. And the minute that things are getting uncomfortable, that's when
Giving up that apple pie.
who you are is going to show up, right? Yes, that apple pie is going to scream your name, Henry.
Yes.
So if that discomfort is going to stop you, and then comfort is still your God, and you're going to ultimately quit, right? And so then we're going to be right back in 2027 talking about the same thing that we're talking about today, right? So a little bit of biblical tie-in here. So in Luke chapter 22 and 44, Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. He prayed so much that he was sweating actual blood, right? He did not want that pain. As a matter of fact, he even asked the Lord, if you can do anything else, I'd rather not
Right.
do this, right? But nevertheless, your will be done, right? His ultimate desire outweighed his desire, his own ultimately desires outweighed his desire to escape, right? Or to follow what the Lord had already planned for him, right? So question I want to pose, and then type your responses in the chat. Tell me, when was the last time you quit because it got uncomfortable? And what did that moment reveal about how badly you actually wanted it?
Well, okay, so I have a love-hate, thing going with the gym, right? I am that girl that's gonna pay all your children's bill because I sign up for these gyms all the time. I'm paying all the school fees, everything. And so I was motivated. I was like, look, I'm not just gonna do a regular gym. I'm gonna do one of these gyms with all ladies, rah, watch us roar, right? Paid way too much. And my commitment was like, I'm gonna go every morning from 5 o'clock. So 5 to 6, I'm gonna go to the gym every morning, Monday through Friday.
Did you do it?
You can imagine, guys, how that ended.
It's January.
Yeah. So
We have a few more weeks left.
when the discomfort came, I
80%. What did they say? 80% of the
I'm the
people
full 80.
abandoned their resolution by the end of January. Go ahead.
I'm the full 80 because, things got hard, priorities shifted, different things like that, but I was not able to keep that commitment, So I paid for it financially, obviously, but that was something for me that I was not able to to keep.
Believe it or not, I'm going to say something, and it's going to shock a lot of you. I still struggle with procrastination.
Huh.
I know. See? Shocker. There's some things that honestly, I feel it, step out in faith, do it. But then, because I'm a thinker and I like to calculate things, 2 plus 2 has got to equal 4, And so for me, a lot of times it's very uncomfortable, and this is where I fail a lot. It's when I have to, here's the faith guy talking. It's not a matter of seeing it to believe it, but I calculate it, I process it. And sometimes, and many of you can relate to this, by processing things too much, analyzing it too much, pausing, maybe, things will shift into its rightful place. Sometimes that's what causes the missed opportunities, because I've had opportunities where God would say, okay, move here. And I didn't because I've been processing things, and it has created a lot of discomfort for me. So that's one of the things I'm going to work on this year. As you said earlier, I think, Charlotte, you had talked about when you know the voice of God. And if there's anything I can tell all of you who are watching the podcast to do this year is get familiar with the voice of the Holy Spirit. Make sure you're hearing him, because when he gives you instructions, though it is scary, you may not have the resources, you may not have the how it's going to come into play. Just do it because he says it, because he cannot lie. And he'll never stand by and watch his word go to nothing. So that's what I'm going to be working on this year.
Yeah, and that actually brings us to our call to action, right? So ultimately, what I want you to do, okay, take note, is this week, anytime you are going to feel discomfort, push past it. Just take a step. It doesn't have to be a huge step. It can be something small, whatever that is. Take one more step, one more rep, one more minute, one more prayer, one more page. Make sure that page turns so that you can make progress, right? It's progress over perfection. Then do a self-evaluation at the end of the week and test your results to see how you feel. You should feel accomplished because you did something, right? And eventually the discomfort will subside. You keep doing that, then you're going to be closer to those goals, and maybe we'll have a different conversation next year. So yeah, leave that in the comment, drop that for us, and let us know how it goes too.
That's good. That's good. It's right there. Follow it. All right. Let's go into this one.
Sign up for a new gym.
I love this one. I love this one.
All right, so now let's really talk about this. All right, real ones, let's get in each other's faces right now. Stop lying to yourself and set realistic goals. Come on. So this is a big thing, right? We set these goals that are just so big. Not that we shouldn't dream big, right? Because when you have a dream, you're breaking it down into bite-sized pieces, into your goals. But sometimes we do that, and most people don't reach their goals because the goals they set, they just aren't realistic. They're imaginary expectations dressed up as ambition. And sometimes we have to remember when we're setting goals, we do have to set the goals according to who we are.
Don't lie to yourself.
Don't lie to yourself. If you are, let's take, for example, if you are, a single mom with 7 children, or if you are someone who works 2 jobs, right? You have to take into account everything that you have going on while you're setting your goals, being very practical. And I always say, when you're going to add something to your plate, look at that plate and remove something, because you keep adding.
Right.
That's good.
What's happening to that, right?
That's
you
good.
only still have the 24 hours, which we're sleeping, we have this. So then you kind of set yourself up for those false expectations.
And failures.
For failure.
Yeah, so I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Something just came right in my head. So you're so true with that. Or, if you're a woman and, a lot of women are saying this, well, I'm not going to marry anybody unless they work in 6 or 7 figures.
Oh, boy.
Right? You hear it all the time. I'm not going to set realistic goals, man. Just set realistic
Well,
goals.
the question is, if you want to marry a 6 or 7 figure man, what are you as a woman? Are you a 6 or 7 figure female? I don't mean you have to make that yourself.
Right.
What are you bringing to the table, too?
See, we're talking about setting realistic goals, right? It's not that you can't get a guy that's working, $400,000, $500,000. Some of you are saying, well, he has to have this house. He's got to have at least $100 million in the bank. And sometimes it's just not realistic.
Right.
It's just not realistic. Others, will say, I hear it all the time. Sometimes people come to me and they're saying, oh, I'm trusting the Lord. I'm going to start this business. I have this business idea. And I want to open this business. It's going to give me $10 million. Great. But right now, the dude is struggling. He doesn't have a job, can't pay his rent, everything like that. And I'm saying, okay, fine. What you should do until that manifests, well, get a job.
Yeah.
Just whatever. Because my own story, when I came to South Florida, right, left a good job in New York, came here, was working with Carefree David Travel, and then was doing travel and tourism. That didn't work out because the building burned down and so forth. They wanted to send me to California. I said no, because I just got into Florida. And, here I lost my job. I have no income. And, I was making good money. And when I tell you, back then in Florida, you're talking over 40-something years ago, this was a lonely town. They didn't have all these highways that they had here. This retired state. Seniors just driving, and it takes forever to go from point A to point B. And I'll never forget, I'm there, my wife wasn't working, I got rent to pay. The job that I took, I could have said, no, I'm this, I'm that. The job I took, and there's nothing wrong with the job. I don't want anybody to think that I'm degrading that position or anything like that. I had to say to myself, I want some level of income. I went to Winn-Dixie, and I got a job at Winn-Dixie bagging groceries. I lived off at the end of the cashier. You cash your groceries, I'm bagging it. And then I would push the cart. They don't do that no more, I think, out here. But I pushed the cart to the car of the shopper and would hope that they'll tip me. That's what I did. I set realistic goals. My rent had to be paid. So I had to do whatever I needed to do. And I'm telling you this year, have to swallow your pride, whatever you're going through, and you'll get there. You'll get to your dreams, but set realistic goals, like you said about the gym, set realistic goal with the gym, stop wasting money. If you know that you're not going to consistently go to the gym, why go to some gym, pay $100? So just go find one with $10 every time you go. That's it. So if you don't go 3 days, you only spend $40.
Right.
Set the realistic goals. That's all I'm just saying. I think sometimes we set these unrealistic goals, and it's just, because I've made those mistakes before. You did things that you swear blind, this is the best option, and it didn't work.
I can imagine. And I want to bring a little scripture in here, because as we are in January now, we want to make sure that at the end of the year, when you guys see this podcast, we can celebrate. So you want to write down your goals.
Yes.
Because when you write it down, you're more likely to be successful. 42% of individuals who actually write down their goals, revisit the goals that they've written down, will be successful.
Wow.
3 times more successful, actually.
42.
So 42%.
So I'm going to write mine down, and I'm believing that come January 2027, I can testify on this podcast that I ate less
apple pie.
How about that? All right. We'll see.
I like it. And so we know very well the scripture we love to quote from Habakkuk 2, verse 2, that says, write the vision, make it plain, but don't make it vague, make it plain. So that's real important, right? We want to definitely do that. So
Don't make it vain.
Don't make it vague. Make it plain. Because people can't, and it's so important to read the whole scripture and digest it. People can't run to help you with your goals if it's not plain. If I don't really know what you're trying to accomplish,
right.
how could I be a destiny helper for you? How could I come alongside you and say, sis,
all
what
over the
can
place.
I do, right?
Yeah. And that's why writing it down is important. Writing it down brings structure.
Clarity.
There you go.
It really does. Question for us to talk about here. How do you know when your goal is too big for your current level of discipline, the D word? And what does it look like to scale it down without feeling like you are settling?
This is so good. This question is so good. I want
I
all
repented,
of you out
like-
there. The real ones, I need you to respond to this, because I'm about to respond to this, because we're living in a time in the United States. For those of you not in the United States watching this, I can only speak about where I live. And in this time that we're living in, people have to scale back. The economy is not good. All kinds of stuff, is happening and will happen this year. And I think we just need to find a way. You may have big dreams, goals. I have some big dreams, goals. And from 2025, I had to visit my plans. And I had to rearrange and made some adjustments and actually reassess that maybe this is not going to be for 26, right? Because if I force it, what you don't want to do is to force something into a season that God never permitted.
Ouch. That's good.
Because when you do, I learned this, listen to me, if you give birth to a baby that is not Holy Spirit driven, you got to take care of it. Not God. It didn't work out for
Ishmael.
Abraham and
That's right.
Sarah that well. You got to take care of it, right? Because you got to live with your mistakes. So don't make that mistake. Yep.
Right. I mean, that also reminds me of like SMART goals, setting SMART goals for yourself. So if you've never heard of that, it's specific, measurable, relevant, and timed.
Right.
Right. And when I taught middle school, I actually would use that with the middle schoolers to help them like come up with goals. But I think it's also relevant for us as adults because a lot of times we're like, we're going to be a millionaire, we're going to own real estate, and we're going to have big businesses. But we don't even know how to manage our money on our 9-to-5 job. And so we've got to learn some of the basics and the baby steps of being able to get to those goals. So when you start working backwards, one thing I learned was working backwards. Okay, you have a big goal. Great. Let's break it down into pieces by quarter one, what are the goals and what are the key performance indicators? What are the measurable things that we can say, okay, check, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. And how close am I reevaluating it every quarter? One thing I learned from the corporate world, right? Because the businesses are not going to let you get away with that. If they're going to pay you a salary, and especially if they're going to pay you a nice salary, they want a return on that investment. We need to also treat our goals and our lives the same way. I mean, that just reminds me of that, right? So I think that when we start to look at ourselves, our houses, our families, and I mean our houses as far as our families, what's happening inside them, and are we managing it to the same level and expectation that our jobs are looking at us for? Are we doing the same thing? Are we treating it the same? I mean, if we're being honest, a lot of times we're not, but we give more to our jobs than we do to our own dreams and goals. So I think that's an important key factor to also to consider as well.
It absolutely is. Okay, guys, so here's what I want you to do, right? Grab some pen and paper, write down your goals and work backwards, like you were saying. Set in realistic and achievable timelines and little task to get there. Sometimes you may have to make it so simple that it's hard not to do it. And see that check mark so you can feel like, yeah, I did something, right? You get that gratification. The goal is to achieve your goals, not to set yourself up for failure. So partner with God in this, right? Remember that when you're writing these goals down, you're able to apply the scriptures as if for everything else we do it. So do it here for God to help you achieve those goals.
I agree.
Wonderful.
And then we want to get desperate. So when was the last time you were desperate for apple pie? No, I'm just kidding. But we want to get desperate because that changes everything. When you are so desperate to achieve your goals, you're not going to allow anything to come for your goals. And as I think about that, one woman, that comes to mind, and you guys know her, is the woman in Mark with the issue of blood. She was so desperate. She was so determined. She was like, look, I know my issue. I know how I'm going to get it resolved, and that is to touch the hem of his garment. So regardless, if I have to push through some people, I have to get talked about, that was her cost. Right? Whatever it's going to cost me, I'm going to have to get that done. So just like the woman with the issue of blood who pushed through the crowd because she refused to live another day in that same condition, you too have to adopt that same mindset really in order to hit your goals. Nothing can stop you.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Nothing can stop you. So here's a discussion for us. Have you ever had to get really desperate about something that you were trying to achieve? And what did you have to do to get it? Talk to me about desperation.
I mean, I'll tell you for me, because it's the testimony of my life where, 7 years of infertility. And I think it was around year 5 where I just got desperate. I finally got to that point where it was like, I just am sick of this, because there was there's a period of time, especially if you're waiting for something big like that to happen, where it's like, maybe it won't, maybe God's not listening, maybe this, maybe that. And it's almost like you kind of just settle with whatever the enemy's lies are. And then at some point, there's a turning point where your mindset just starts to shift. And so I was desperate around year 5, and then I heard a word from the Lord. It was like that rhema word that came and was like, no, I'm holding on to that. I'm believing this thing. I'm going to see this thing through. And then after that, getting pregnant for the first time, but then also having it end in, demise and stillbirth, where I was like, no, he promised me. And then I went back to the Lord and I said, you promised me, so you got to tell me something. Like, what's after this? And the Lord said, double. He said double. And then what happened? I had my rainbow baby. And then now I have her brother. And he fulfilled that. So I just use that as my own testimony, because if he did it for me, he's certainly going to do it for someone else. He's not a respecter of persons. But for me, that I go back to that anytime, because everything else is like small potatoes now. So it's like, okay, well, we're believing for this. We're believing for our house. We're believing for our business. Well, if we went through that already, well, God's going to do it again. He's got to.
Desperation, man, is the key. If you literally get desperate, you'll be shocked at what you can achieve in life.
Right.
So I would just say to our viewers today, write the vision, your goals, make sure they're realistic, and then get desperate about it. Charlotte said, her and her husband wanted to start a family. And based on the length of time, they could have said, I guess it's not going to happen. But they got desperate enough. You see, when you get desperate, you block out all the distractions, the doubts, you know. And I know some of you may be asking, okay, well, how long should I get desperate? Get desperate until something happens.
Push.
You know, until something happens,
right.
you know. And, you know, since you just mentioned push, you know, I'm not a woman, so I don't know a woman's experience. But when a woman is having a baby, you had your baby. When a woman is having a baby, come on now. I mean, the worst thing you can do is when that baby coming, to say, I'm not going to push.
Oh, no, you can't go back.
Tired of this.
You cannot go back.
That can't, I'm telling you, you can't do that because you will hurt yourself and the
right.
baby.
That's right.
So could it be that God is saying to all of us, even those of you who are watching, that you're in a season of pushing?
Yeah.
You know, something big is about to happen to you. You just need to write down what you're expecting, be desperate enough, and don't hold back. Don't retreat. Don't let the enemy stop you. Push, because I'm telling you, this is not a season now for you to say, well, you know what, nah, I'm just going to just passively sit by. No, because you may kill your dream. Maybe this is the year for you. So get desperate. Anything can happen this year. We're not here predicting what date on the calendar in 2026 stuff is going to happen for you. We're not mind readers. We don't know the mind of God, the plan of God. But what we're telling you is that if you get desperate enough, you will have what your heart's desires are. The Bible says he'll give you the desires of your heart. So I would encourage you, man, get desperate. Don't self-sabotage, I should say. You know, don't hurt yourself by doubting yourself. That's another
Right,
big thing.
right.
Don't doubt yourself. Anything can happen. Don't relive what happened last year, right? Don't stay stagnant. Live in procrastination, you know, because I confess, I'm that kind of guy, you know. Believe it or not, people may think, no, Bishop goes for everything. No, sometimes I'm like, no, I'm going to work this out. Wait, you know, and I've missed so many good opportunities, man, so many deals because I procrastinated. There's a particular property that I think it was before COVID. It was before COVID. I saw a property and I loved it, man. I really loved the property. And I went, looked at it, and it wasn't a struggle. It's not something I have to pray for. Say, God, you know, work a miracle, you know. It's something I know I could do. And I just, you know, what if, and I procrastinated. Well, COVID hit. And then I'm saying, wow, okay, maybe properties are going to go down, you know, because remember the whole country, the whole world shut down and so forth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, by the time COVID ended, that property doubled in price.
Wow.
I couldn't buy it. Procrastination. So I don't know what door God has for you this year, but we, my co-host and I, all of us are here to encourage you. Please make sure that you do not procrastinate. So you get desperate. So if you take anything from today's podcast, let it be this. Your resolutions won't work unless you work. Your goals won't change unless your habits do. And your life won't transform until you transform. So this year doesn't have to look like last year, but that depends really on the choices you make starting not next month, next, 3 months, starting today. So my encouragement to you, our encouragement to you is to commit to what's non-negotiable. Push through discomfort. It's going to come. Get desperate enough to change. Set goals that match the season you're in. Why? Because God has already given you everything you need to become the best version of yourself. I want to see the real you, man, in 2026, not the broken, hurt, desperate you, right? Because it's up to you to act upon it. So before we wrap up today's episode, We want to hear from you. We got to hear from you. You know, we've been blabbing our mouth and so forth. We need to hear from you. So what's your aha moment in the conversation? The things that really resonated with you today? Leave your comment below, and we will highlight it, by the way, in a future episode or maybe on our social media platforms. So don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Visit our website, download our free copy of our monthly ebook. Please, it has complete and stuff there and interactive activities to strengthen you on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself. And while you're there, check out our business directory to connect with trustworthy, faith-based businesses across all industries. So if you're a business owner, let me tell you something. We got something for you. We have an opportunity before you where you can tap into our influence, and we can help your business, and you can help what we're doing here on the podcast. So if you would like to also financially support the podcast, please stop by our merch store. Every dollar you spend helps sustain this podcast and supports our ongoing ministry initiatives. Remember, it's more than just merch. It is ministry. So until then, all of us, we're saying to you, thank you. We'll see you next time.